gonna do a lesson like this, baby. Break it on down, come on.
Hi, I'm Elia Einhorn, and you're listening to the Talkhouse Music Podcast. This episode brings together again two of our podcast's most loved guests, Questlove and Carrie Brownstein, this time with the addition of Chef Dominique Crenn. This funny and thoughtful talk was recorded live at Urban Outfitters Space 98, located at 98 North 6th Street in Brooklyn, New York. They put on this incredible event to celebrate the release of Questlove's new book. Thanks so much to Urban Outfitters for allowing us to release this as a podcast. Amir Questlove Thompson is best known as drummer and bandleader of hip-hop stars The Roots, who are the house band on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. But as he says in this talk, Questlove really has about 42 billion jobs. One of these is being a prolific author, and last month saw the release of his new book, Something to Food About, Exploring Creativity and Innovative Chefs, which he co-wrote with Ben Greenman and features photography by Kyoko Hamada. It presents conversations with 10 inspiring chefs on art, creativity, and, of course, food. The event's host, Carrie Brownstein, sings and plays guitar in Sleater-Kinney, and alongside Fred Armisen created and stars in Portlandia. She's also one of the Talkhouse Music Podcast's most regular guests, having previously recorded fantastic episodes with the Black Keys' Patrick Carney, the Walkmen's Hamilton Lighthouser, and one with Questlove that is almost instantly referenced at the beginning of this conversation. Dominique Crenn, one of the 10 chefs featured in Something to Food About, is the first female chef in America to earn 2 Michelin stars. Her dishes come looking like modern art, and Crenn thinks of her food as culinary poetry. Diners at one of her restaurants are even presented a poem in place of a menu. She's committed to using market-fresh, organic, and sustainable foods, and says, chefs are not the rock stars, farmers are the rock stars. Well, without further ado, here are 2 rock stars, and according to everyone but her, a rock star chef, discussing Madonna, soul food, and how eating on tour gets a lot better once you gain success. Unless you're Eminem.
Without further ado, I want to introduce our host for the evening, Carrie Brownstein.
Hi, thanks for coming. I didn't know I was going to be introducing Questlove, but it is my honor to do so. He has his new book, Something to Food About, is brilliant and interesting and funny, and have you guys read it yet? Nope. Okay. So he interviews basically a handful of chefs from all over the country, and in his questions there is autobiographical information. We learn a little bit about his own journey with food, and it's historical, it's artistic, it's creative, and it's very entertaining. So we're going to talk to him about the book, and we also get to talk with the amazing chef Dominique Crenn, who just won Best Female Chef, whatever that means. She's just an amazing chef. So welcome, Amir Questlove.
How you guys doing? Thank you for waiting. I know these are late hours, but if you guys know me, you know that I have about 42 billion jobs. So, how's it going?
I'm good.
Okay. You okay?
I'm good, yeah. This is like a high thing for a dress, a stool, like this stool.
I know, right? I hate these chairs.
No.
Wait, okay, so we just saw each other like 3 minutes ago.
I know.
So you know what you got to tell me, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I didn't meet her though.
Damn.
Okay, so when...
Were you guys, any of you guys at our last talk for when her book came out? Okay, so you got update.
Okay, so basically, Amir I said that Madonna was my first concert, and which is true. And it was in 1985, so it was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And Amir kind of promised me that for Christmas, he would gift me the gift of meeting Madonna. And I believed you, and it was like a legitimate.
I believed me too.
Yeah. And it was in earnest. So I happened to be in Australia a few months ago, and I found out that Madonna was playing Australia for the first time in about 20 years. She has literally canceled every tour of Australia, which, as you know, canceling a tour is a big deal.
I know. They always get the short end of the stick. We've done it millions of times to them.
Yeah.
If you slowly work your way over, and then
you stop because it's so
you're
far.
Like, no.
Because here's Australia.
Make up something.
You fly for 16 hours and you land in the equivalent of San Diego, like culturally. So it's a long way.
Her words, not mine. Page 6. Her words, not mine.
It's a long way to go to hang out with San Diegans, but also some of the nicest people in the world.
I love it there. When we finally give in and go, I love it.
We're saying the same thing. He's saying he's basically canceled on them a lot of times. And I'm saying it's like San Diego. We're saying the same thing. He's just being nicer about it.
Yes, I am.
Anyway, so Madonna was playing there. Not only was she playing, but she was doing a club show as a clown.
Literally?
Literally as a clown. A stand-up show. She wrote out...
Wait, she did comedy?
Yeah.
What is up with that? Because even on our show, we booked her twice as a comedian, and she canceled twice.
That's the funny part.
But she did stand up on our show as well. Like the first time she was on the show, like her.
She's kind of into that now. Anyway, it was really fascinating. She rode out on a tricycle and did a little circle, and then she fell over. It was interesting.
This is special for you.
It was special. Anyway,
Wow.
So thank you. I haven't thanked you in person, but thank you.
Oh.
I saw that, and then I saw the full Rebel Heart tour, which is very sexual.
Still, after all these years.
After all these years, very
Okay.
sexual.
Well, I promise, next time I'll really make it happen.
It totally happened. I didn't meet her, but I feel like that's okay.
Maybe it's cool.
I think it's okay.
I think, it's... My rule has always been never meet your idols because they could disappoint you.
I feel... Oh, but...
Yeah.
If Questlove is your idol, then you will never be disappointed. So...
4 people that work to see. Looking,
they're like walking out.
My whole crew in the back's like, damn right, it's disappointing.
But I agree. I didn't want to meet her. Right? Not that she would disappoint me, but who knows? You've met her.
Yeah, you didn't want to take that risk.
Okay.
So.
Anyway, well, we're here to talk about your new book, though.
Yeah, books in stores. So tell me what else happened. All right. Okay, let's talk about the book.
Do you not want to? It's.
I just think
Here's the things. I have questions, like really some pedestrian questions about food and touring, because what's so strange, like when I think about the first couple times that you must have toured or that I toured, you just think
hell.
It's hell, and including the food. So
absolutely.
When was the change? Like, I mean, you write a little bit about it in the book, but when did you start noticing? Like, I definitely remember like touring through the Midwest and touring with I was not vegetarian, but if you had a vegetarian anywhere near you they were just eating salad and fries for weeks.
Yeah.
And which is depressing and not healthy, by the way. Also, they're really righteous about it because like you're eating shit right now, but
right.
So when did you start noticing that there were places to go to where you were getting the kind of food that actually like inspired you and interested you?
So if any of you ever saw Pulp Fiction, there's a scene where Sam Jackson says, as he's eating the tasty burger, he says that, his girlfriend's a vegetarian, so basically that makes him a vegetarian by default. And there was a period when all of the Roots were vegetarians.
Because you were all
minus me.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say because you were all dating vegetarians.
No.
Okay,
they were all,
okay.
My management, they were like the first like health nuts I met. Like I never knew what a Whole Foods was. Like this is right when Whole Foods was just really starting to kick off, and just noticing this lifestyle that wasn't what I was accustomed to. So it was hard to adjust to their world because it wasn't like we had such a large budget that they could accommodate all the specific taste in the band. So I'll say, especially in the beginning, because in the beginning, touring, first of all, we pulled a Hendrix. So pulling a Hendrix is literally, what do you call it? Kind of exiling out of the States and moving to London. When Kurt Cobain passed, we were also in Geffen. When Kurt Cobain passed, we had a sneaky suspicion that our label might drop its entire black department that they just started like 6 months ago, because Aerosmith just left Geffen, moneymaker. Guns N' Roses wasn't going to turn in a record anytime soon. They left, and then when Cobain passed, my manager called me panicking. He's like, "Yo, man, we're pardon my French, we're about to be fucked." I was like, "Why? What happened?" He's like, "Yo, man, because they're losing all their marquee artists, and I feel like they're just going to drop us all." So we had a 2-week plan, which was finish the album. We shot 3 videos in one day. We mixed, mastered side 3 and side 4 of the record, turned everything in, and literally took all of our remaining budget money, got a flat in London as a hub, and then got an agent and just said, book us anywhere, because we felt like if we at least got some critical acclaim for our live show, then the label would be like, okay, we'll keep you. So as a result, just 7 dudes in a 3-bedroom London flat, living off of bread, like French bread, tomato sauce, a lot of garlic. We had the worst breath of all time. Like cheese and amino spray, that was like and French fries.
Yeah,
just
because it's vegetarian. All that stuff.
No
you
protein,
need. No meat. Yeah,
none of that stuff. And that, well, for one, for survival, and 2, it's just like that was our way of life. I mean, promoters would feed us backstage, but you were kind of at their mercy. Things got way better after our 4th record. That was like our breakthrough, our platinum album, and then suddenly we noticed rock star writers, and okay, we can make the promoter pay for all these items. So like I remember there was one specific date we did, like when Eminem was on his 2nd album. So he was already like gargantuan and large in status. So we're sharing dressing rooms though. And on our side of the dressing room, it's like the most immaculate spread, like Mucilix and special like imported raw pecans and like the special wine delivered from like our rider was like 92, everything but like the Van Halen brown M&M separated. Like that's how we were. And directly in the middle, Mason-Dixon of the line, on the other side was Wonder Bread, Miracle Whip, and the ham and cheese pumpernickel, Oscar Mayer. And just looking at it, if you were to ask, okay, which hip hop artist is the multimillionaire and which one's the struggling artist? And for some, Eminem's writer was just nothing. Bread, meat, Miracle Whip. That's it. And ours was this elaborate thing. So, I guess long story short, like I've just always, road life, we were at the mercy of whatever our status was monetarily. And then once we really got established, then that's when I started taking notice of gourmet restaurants and whatnot.
Before that, when you were growing up, in your first book, you talk a lot about your parents' influence, your family's influence on your music. But what were some of the formative like eating experiences you had as a kid? Like, were your parents good cooks? Did you like to cook? Because I feel like they're just like, sometimes my taste, I feel like, similar to music, sometimes it happens early. What you're sort of drawn to, what signifies comfort food.
Right.
And as much as I can deviate from that because of, just wanting to be experimental or, sort of whatever, like adventurous, I still default to certain things. Like, do you have that was formed early?
Well, my home life, because I grew up in a music household where my father and my mother were also touring musicians. Yes, they both cooked, and we had meals home, but I'll say that we ate out more than anything, and plus we were always on the road. So I have memories of every Howard Johnson's across America, and to the point like, tell them it's my birthday so I can get the free ice cream with the sparklers. That sort of thing. My grandmother, however, very old school. She's one of those like Sunday, whatever your thoughts of like Big Mama's house, and on Sunday, the immaculate Thanksgiving serving. It was Thanksgiving every Sunday basically, and the process would start on Thursdays. They do outlandish stuff like bake a pound cake and then drown it in like brandy or something like that. And 3 days later, like, you're not allowed to touch the cake. You're just watching it sit inside of this brandy substance or whatever. And they took forever to make this food, but it was like a tradition. So I'll say all the home cooked ideas that was my grandmother, but my education in different types of restaurants, I mean, that's my parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like I know the answer to this just based on the fact that your parents didn't, but do you cook now?
I have the ability to cook, but I think those that love me and care for me prefer that I didn't.
Yeah,
I
I feel the same. I mean, I feel like adding milk to cereal is not cooking, but if it was, I am a great cook. Like a really, really
I
great
always
chef.
say that's my best meal.
Yeah.
Peanut butter Captain Crunch.
Yeah,
But,
like I can make really good peanut butter and jelly, really good scrambled eggs, and like amazing almond milk in cereal.
I tell this story before. My manager made me go out and hire a full-time chef because he was like, if you don't, you'll never have a salad in this lifetime. Like, I know you. And he was right. I think when Ardina, you came in and threw away like how many boxes? So when I first moved to New York, I keep on forgetting what was the hurricane before Sandy, the fake one. They're great. No,
Yeah,
Irene.
solid.
So, but do you remember like the panic that was in the air when they were like, it's going to be the end? Like, it wasn't hardly that for Sandy, but when the year before it was like, stock up on everything. So I basically ran to Dwayne Reed down the block and then
Known for their cuisine.
Yeah, there's no shame. There's no shame in shopping for food at.
Trust me, I've done it at Rite Aid in Portland a lot.
Yeah, like 4 a.m, no one bothers you. Is great. So that's what I did. Like 1 a.m, just grabbed like 16 cereals because I didn't know what I wanted.
Cereal never disappoints. It's so
Yes,
so consistent.
Yeah, I'm a cereal junkie. So when she moved in, she threw away like every last box of cereal that I had.
Cereal's on the decline, I've heard, but we could probably single between the two of us keep it in business. I feel like. Okay, so now you eat healthy, but
yeah.
Okay.
I eat like real meals and salads, and she tricks me into consuming vegetables that I normally wouldn't like to eat. Anything on this cover, like this is in my morning juice every day.
Oh, kale.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think kale gets a bad rap. I personally like kale.
Just plain?
I like it as a snack or as Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I know that people like it's cool to hate kale.
No, I mean, is it? But kale chips, is that what you mean? You like it as a chip?
I love kale chips.
But, okay. I
do love kale chips,
no.
right? Am I lying, Nardini?
Right.
She makes homemade kale chips too. Like her chips are
No,
off the chain.
yeah, for me, I feel like there's like emphasis on chip for me in the kale chip a little bit, but I like kale. I feel like it causes bloat. Like it's very intense.
Really?
Yeah, it's like heavy foliage. It's just it's like a scrub brush on your intestines.
Well,
Not for me personally. I've just heard this. I never touch it, but.
you gotta invest in poo-pourri or something. Just
Okay.
too much information.
TMI. This is not being recorded, is it? There's like 10 cameras.
Of course it is.
One thing that I wanted to also discuss is it's interesting to me how much like foodie culture has sort of become this thing that we talk about. Like that it's not surprising that you have a book about food out. It's not surprising that this is something that we Instagram and we post and we sort of just is part of the conversation. And one theory I had was that it's one of the only things that is that we can't reproduce. You know, we can reproduce live concerts. You know, we can watch that on YouTube. We don't have to go to a movie theater. We can watch that at our house. You know, virtual reality can take us to cities, to art galleries. But there is something so experiential about eating. And do you feel like your enthusiasm and fondness for the experience of dining and the collective nature of dining kind of happen as things with music? Do you feel like there's any relation to that?
I'll be honest with you. Back when the term foodie, at least when I first kind of heard it or whatever, I used to clown it a little bit because I was just like, wait, there's a subculture out there that like just watches food shows on television and nothing else. And what's her name? Nora Jones used to, like, her thing was always like, oh, we're going to run home and watch the Food Network. And I'm just like, you dweebs. Like, I couldn't imagine such a thing. And now, like, yeah, exactly. You're right. It is. I realized it was an art, which really led to the creation of the book when I saw Jiro Dreams of Sushi. And that really hit me over the top to the point where I felt like I had to schedule an appointment to see him. Yeah, it's like seeing the Pope or getting blessed. That's what the experience is. And so it took me 7 months to go out and have this meal prepared for me at 11 in the morning. And watching him create the food, and I realized that this is an art, and that made me more curious about all the other chefs, because practically half the book has been on the Tonight Show over and over and over and over and over again, and just slowly observing them all, then I saw the parallels between musicians and chefs, comedians as well, like the process, the painstaking process that they go to. And I actually think it's harder for those in the culinary world, because at least with musicians, we can have jam sessions in private, work things out without the world seeing it. In front of or not, but with food, you kind of need others in their opinion. And the thing is, it kind of has to be perfect. Like, because if you eat one false thing, if it's one false move, then there's a chance that you might affect that person's view of that for life. Like, I never liked, hypothetically speaking, like black jelly beans. So, just one false move and that can affect someone's life. There's no rehearsal process to perfect it. And that's where I noticed the difference between artists and chefs.
Yeah, I did think it was interesting with something like Jiro, where have you guys seen this movie, Jiro Dreams of Sushi? So,
or heard of it at least.
Yeah. So it's on Netflix, by the way. But what's curious to me is, in the film he discusses, and you discuss in your book about the massaging of the octopus, and there's so much sort of behind the scenes and process that for most of us with, a slightly, some of us have refined palates, some of us just know what we like and don't like. But how is that related to music? And do we need to appreciate the process to, like a song or like food? That to me, it's kind of psychological, but the experience is not necessarily affected by it, or is it?
It's 100% psychological. I'll tell you, not to be morbid with it, but I tend to notice that I listen to music more intensely if the person's not here. So as a person that has consumed a lot of Prince in his lifetime, I'm now revisiting a lot of those records and hearing things more intensely. And this always happens. Like I did it with Bowie, and I did it with Natalie Cole, and every Michael Jackson, like all these people that have passed. I tend to I guess your senses are heightened, and I guess you pay attention more now that you know that maybe the creator isn't around enough to give you new material to work with. But I feel that similar to food, it's a unique one-off experience. Jiro just happens to be kind of good at hitting bullseye with a marksman's accuracy. It could be a mile away and it'll go right into, if he were to use this Afro pick as a weapon, it's brilliant accuracy. So he's one of the few people that doesn't veer off to the left or to the right. I've tried meals before by different chefs and sort of couldn't tell either or. There's a difference between when I had it before and when I had it now. So.
Yeah, I feel like this is a tangent, but similarly to the kind of the lacking. Are we supposed to?
I felt that presence over there.
Bring Dominique on stage.
All right, let's bring on Dominique then.
Please, yeah, Dominique Crenn from Atelier Crenn. How are you?
Welcome.
Congratulations.
I think I'm drunk.
Yes, congratulations. Did you guys hear about her award, her recent accolade? Nope. Yes? Okay.
Yeah, the James Beard Awards were last night. And
Fuck no.
wait, time out.
No, not the James Beard. Who cares about the James
I
Beard?
know. I was going to say it's common for every chef that's involved in the James Beard world to sort of dismiss it, or I can understand, but why do awards not matter to you?
Well, I think I always say it's awards and celebrity study, and it's what you do with it. It's not the 15 minutes of you think that okay, so I got the award, so I'm the shit. It's not that. It's really the platform to become. What do you do with it? Do you want to do it and put it on your wall and look at yourself every day and say, oh look, this is me, or do you want to okay, so I have a voice. What do you do with this voice? So that's what's important to me.
Oftentimes I shrug off I think it's I'm real superstitious when it comes to celebrating or kind of basking in the glow of a success. Like when something really good happens, I will by default kind of shrug it off and not acknowledge it. But I know that my reasons for doing so is that I'm afraid that I'll get too comfortable. I see a lot of my peers that will say, to this day, they'll say like, 19 years ago, I released a classic record. Like, of course you should know who I am, like that sort of thing. And it's like, if there's one thing I know about, the audience that listens to the music, that the world that I come from, they're quick to instantly. They're quick to forget. Are you concerned with the fear that you won't push yourself further if you just say like, oh well, I won one of the highest honors in food?
Well, first of all, I gotta say, fear is prison, so you can't fear anything in your life. I think you have to let people to celebrate you, and in that moment, you gotta embrace it. But you have to know also that that moment doesn't define you. There's so much more you can do with it, and I have to tell you a story. So I'm French. I mean, everybody knows, right?
Okay.
Sorry, my English is not that great.
It's great.
Really great.
So I love France. I love where I come from, and the reason why I left France is because French people where I was coming from were too much into their own head, and there was the time where we were probably on top of the fashion industry. We were on top of the food industry, and French people think that where they're on top, there is nowhere else to go. I don't believe that. And it was very frustrating for me because it's about evolution, and you have to embrace those moments when someone tell you, "Wow, your record is amazing," but there is another things you can do. It's just a part of yourself. So no, I mean, I think everything that's happening right now, it's really it's about humiliation. It's humbled me. I'm like, okay. I'm not going to say, well, yeah, I'm the shit. Well, I am, but...
You're the shit. We'll let you have that one.
But it's also, to appreciate what you have, and it's like there's so much more you can learn, and it's what excites me, People excite me, and I want to learn more about life, and then, today, I'm meeting you guys, and probably tomorrow I'm going to create a dish about you.
Good night. Thank you.
Yeah. We did it. That's our award.
So, okay, well, I'm often, one of the questions that I'm often asked, as far as the research that went into the book was the idea of how women are represented, how minorities are represented in this world, and is it just, are we going through another Oscar so white moment in the kitchen? And of course, everyone points out, well, the only female chef in your book is Dominique Crenn, and my answer was always, I felt that I needed to represent what's in the market now. Yes, there's slow change happening, but this is a business that Anthony Bourdain told me yesterday that relies heavily on kind of chefs berating their kitchen. A lot of long hours, a lot of patience worn thin. I want you to explain, if you can, explain to me your journey to head your own kitchen and your own ideas and executing those ideas. Like, I mean, how important is that and how hard was it to maintain that position? Because this doesn't happen.
I'm violent. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, so you would throw a skillet at
no,
your sous chef? Okay,
No,
I see.
not at all. Well, I think you have to understand the structure of the history of how the kitchen came around. So, Escoffier was the person that created that brigade, and what he looked at was the way that the army was. You know, it's like, okay, you have a lieutenant, you have whatever, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's very male-oriented. So that's how the kitchen came around. So for a long, long time, it was a world of men. And then the women were staying at home, and I think they better cook than men, but I think so. Mm-hmm. But this is how the society, you know, were. And I think at the talk, we were talking about this earlier. It's not about the industry, it's about the society. It's how the society is breeding, you know, men and women on one side, you know. I mean, if you're pregnant, not you, but your girlfriend.
I could be.
You know, yeah, I don't know. But like, you know, if any woman is pregnant, it's like before the baby is born, is they can go to a store and there is pink and there is blue. And they tell you before your baby is born that, well, this is how the girl needs to dress, and this is, I'm sorry, guys, I think it's BS. I think everything needs to come back to a unity, and it's the society needs to do that. So the same thing in the kitchen, you know. Yeah, it's been hard. You know, I felt that at the beginning I had to work my. Everybody has to work. Can I say our ass off? Yeah, my ass off, you know. But it's about, you know. I think people were looking at me as, oh wow, look at that girl. I'm like, oh, do not call me a girl because I'm not a girl. But I shut up at first and I just worked very hard. And then one day there was this cook that came to me, and I remember I was at Stars. And I was working with Jeremiah Tower, and Jeremiah, usually at Star, you know, you start as a commie, and you have to be in the basement, and you have to clean up everything for 6 months, and you don't see the light of the restaurant, you don't see anything. And then somehow, I didn't start there, I start on the line. And then there's like one of the cooks like, oh yeah, you see, you know, I think the chef likes you, you know, all cute, you know. What? And I'm like, dude, get your mise en place right, because it's pretty shitty right now. And every day, you know, they yell at you. It's like, look at mine, you know. It's like, I'm doing a pretty good job. You want me to go downstairs? I can clean up, you know, 20 bucks of dirt in like an hour. And how long it takes you? 5 hours? And I was just like, you have to stand, you know, you got to stand up. But like, it's not what I'm about. I'm about conversation and dialogue. So what's going on right now for me is, you know, I have a platform. And yes, you know, when you get like an award, it's like best female chef in the world. Okay, great. Yes, I have boobs and I have a pussy or whatever. Yes, I'm a woman. Yes.
Someone get her some more wine. This is getting interesting.
No, but you know, do I have to take a stand where I'm gonna like go and fight against men? No, I just like, okay, this is a platform, so it's opening the conversation. Things need to change, not just in the industry, movie industry, film industry, the politics, everything. You know, come on, guys, we need each other. Let's not go against each other.
So, do you think that you can effectively run a kitchen without having an iron fist to run it? Because I know that the theory is that, you know, when you're heading your own kitchen and you have 100 workers with you, you have to weed out and search for the strong ones versus the weaker ones and that sort of thing. And so the idea is that, you know, if you can handle the abuse I'm giving you, then you can handle any situation. I know that's the theory, but is that necessarily effective? Like, is that sort of corporal punishment or corporal culinary punishment, is that effective?
I don't think so. I think I work in a kitchen where my chef was pretty violent, very verbally abusive. I think verbal abuse is, I think, much more terrible than just physical abuse, and because it kind of, it
sticks with you.
Yeah, it sticks with you. And I remember I looked at him one time and I said, if I run my kitchen, I will never say those words. And the reason is that I understood that psychologically, when you enable someone creativity in a way that you can be assertive, you can tell them what you want, but when you let them be themselves, it helps you as a person to become better also. And the way that I run my kitchen, there's no yelling, there's no throwing pans. There is discipline, and they know where their places are, but it's also, I'm interested in them to also enable themselves. I want, you can be a chef and you can think that you're the best in the world, but you're not, because the way you can grow is, be inspired, but also inspire others. And I want to inspire others, but they have to inspire me. So anything that happened in my kitchen, they are bringing me a different DNA, and from that I can create better. So that's the way that. And then we have wine at night, we talk and we make food. But no, I don't believe in violence. Violence is not the answer of anything. And this world is, when I see violent people, aggressive, anything, oh, my politics is better than yours, my religion is better than yours. Like, come on, shut up. It doesn't get you anywhere. It's fearing about who you are and don't understand, and knowledge. They don't have the knowledge of being better. So I don't know. So I'm just a woman. No, I'm kidding.
So that's. I feel like that's kind of talking about the culture within the restaurant, and but one thing I was thinking about when I was reading this book, in terms of race and class and gender, is the role of the restaurant in the city at large. And so much of restaurant culture and foodie culture, as you look around this country, is the neighborhoods that make room for these restaurants are gentrified, and that's how these new restaurants can afford to crop up. San Francisco, is constantly, it's a very contentious environment in terms of gentrification. Portland dealing with the same thing, obviously Brooklyn. And how can restaurants reflect the city when in some ways the space they're occupying is one of increased homogeneity or increased gentrification? Well,
I'm starting to notice, well, not starting to, but I'm starting to notice that a lot of these chefs are also socially and politically conscious about what their position is. I know that often this food is seen as like a high-end 1% only exclusive world, but I mean, you now have different like Daniel Patterson,
local, and Roy Choi in LA.
Yeah, but he's now opened a healthy fast food establishment that's in the community, in Watts of all places. So, I mean, this is like a long time in planning, and him meeting with community leaders, hiring them, teaching them how to make the food, how to grow their food, healthy food, and affordable. I know that Daniel Hum is, oh God, I hope I'm not spoiler alerting this. He too is doing the same thing. I don't know if it's in New York or Jersey or, okay, I didn't know if he'd let that out. I know in our conversations he told me that. So, I'm starting to see that now. There are a lot of chefs that are trying to pay it forward and also, balance it out and use it for good, for better health, and to teach people to sustain their own business and their own communities and their own life. Like, because soul food, although it's gourmet now, I mean, that was a survival food. That was the scraps of slavery that, you know, we had access to. And then the new version of soul food in the hood is now just affordable takeout Chinese food on the corner. So I think it's notable, and I'm seeing now more culinary experts delving into that world. Do you feel a certain way about, you know, I know that it's hard just maintaining one kitchen, but everyone has this grand vision of expanding. Well, I don't know if you have that vision or not. Like, is it hard just maintaining your one establishment, or do you have a grander end game to have 20 and for?
I'm not sure about 20, but you know, I think it's food is the core of the society. So now, as chefs, we are giving the responsibility to just move forward with that. So what that means, you know, obviously, I have a fine dining restaurant. You know, it's that was a part of me that I wanted to express. I also created last year a much more casual place to bring the community together also, and it was a little bit of political stand against industrial farming with protein. So there is no meat in my restaurant. I got really upset about what was going on in the way the farming, the industrial farming in the United States. So it's all fish and vegetable, and there is absolutely no corporation that come and deliver the food. It's just like we go to the market or we work with fishmonger and all that. So cook over fire, and I was like bringing the community together. I also, I'm working on a concept. It's not a concept. It's an idea that is very dear to me. It's about eat your vegetable, because vegetable is good, and it's to create that. You remember that song from the Pretenders, "Brass in Pocket"? Mm-hmm. So I'm creating this veggie in pocket. Means you know, it's maybe people don't see it's important, but it's very important. But it's also it's being conscious and thoughtful. I just want to let you know, and I don't want to be too political, but I wanted to let you know that there is climate change is serious. 40% of 50% of the food production contribute to climate change. So the number one industry in the world is food. Everybody needs to eat, but we need to understand now how to do this better. Otherwise, we're going to destroy everything. It's not about us right now. It's about the future. It's about your children. It's about what's going to happen 10 years, 20 years from now. So I'm going to invite each of you to be advocate to this. So tonight, when you go eat, make sure that you know where your food come from. I'm not asking you to be a vegetarian, a vegan, or whatever, but it's about be conscious and understanding and take the responsibility of every time you buy something, you're an advocate to change things, and it's very important to do so.
Amazing. I can talk all night, but I, based on the eyes over there, I think we have to wrap this up. What are your thoughts on peanut butter Captain Crunch? Thank you very much.
I'm allergic to peanuts, dude.
You are?
No!
Oh.
All right, good night. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, I'm Elliot Einhorn, and you've been listening to Questlove, Carrie Brownstein, and Chef Dominique Crenn on the Talkhouse Music Podcast. Thanks again to Urban Outfitters and Space 98. This conversation was recorded by Dan Petruzzi. For more episodes of the Talkhouse Music Podcast, including Carrie and Questlove's first talk, check us out on iTunes, SoundCloud, or at thetalkhouse.com.